is 1618. Austria with their Austrian homies and a Bavarian dude pointing at France and the Netherlands. Oh wait, France and the Netherlands just kicked their butt. Oh, but this was all a part of Austria's plan. It's 1914. Austria hungry now with their German homies pointing at both France and Russia. Once again, the gang has gotten completely defeated. Oh, but again, this was a part of Austria-Hungary's plan. It's now WW2 time. This time we have an Austrian man with a no-no German symbol with once again his German homies, and he's pointing at France and the Soviets. And again, the Germans get completely obliterated, and yeah, this guy is going to not live on Earth anymore. Okay, so if I'm if I'm understanding this correctly, Austria's plan is to send Germany into battle and just get completely obliterated, because that's just how they roll, I guess. I mean, they did it back in the day when the Austrians were the Habsburgs. They would send like individual parts of Germany into battle. They definitely in a way did it in World War I, and because the skinny mustache man was Austrian and just happened to lead Germany during WW2, they kind of did it here as well. My favorite part about this are these small details. In World War I, he was pointing at France and Russia. Obviously, Russia did collapse because that's when they became the Soviet Union. In World War II, they were pointing at France and the Soviets, and yeah, we all know how that went for France during WW2. Man, those Austrians sure are sneaky. Man, oh man, what a beautiful friendship. Dude, have you ever wondered what happened to regional dialects in France? I don't know, I guess they just preferred French over their regional language. Meanwhile, a century earlier. Now listen, you're gonna speak French, and you are gonna like it. Sometimes it really is just that simple. Oh, would you look at that? We have no regional dialects anymore. How did that happen? Now, France does technically have regional dialects, and a lot of places around the world obviously speak very different French, but it has always seemed kind of funny to me that France doesn't share the same problem as Spain has. There's definitely a lot more fighting that happens with language in that country. Spices are for selling, not food. And here are all the countries that agree it's just Britain and the Netherlands. You can have spices, yes, especially a spice trade. Just don't dare put any spices on your own food. That is blasphemy. A Venn diagram comparing Serbia to America. The only difference they have is on the Serbian side, they despise America, and on the American side, doesn't know where Serbia is. Meanwhile, they have so much in common. Likes basketball, claims Nikola Tesla as one of their own, even though supposedly he's from Serbia, has boomed a Balkan country's capital, and doesn't like the UN. Man, oh man, who knew Serbia and the US was so alike? This is all news to me. In an alternative universe, I think we'd be besties. So yes, we're all in agreement to not wage chem or gas warfare because that sucks. Wait, America, where'd you get a nuclear bomb? I don't know. Well, that escalated quickly. Pretty much said every country in WW2. I mean, that really got out of hand fast. It's like all these places agreed because of WW1 to not wage warfare in a certain way. Unfortunately, warfare was about to be changed forever, whether America knew how they got it or not. Poland saying, I declare war. I just want you to know that you can't just say the word war and expect us to fight you, says Japan. And that was pretty much, in different words, their response. In 1941, the Polish government in exile did declare war on the Japanese islands. And in response, I quote, Japan politely refused, suggesting the proposal was not entirely serious. In a way, I can't think of a more disrespectful thing. Maybe they didn't mean it like that, but it is kind of. Here's Napoleon. He wants money to fight England. Here's Thomas Jefferson. He wants to purchase the Louisiana Territory. Here's a British bank who offers to lend Thomas the money so he can purchase the Louisiana Territory. And here's Jefferson, who then borrows the money and purchases the Louisiana Territory. Then there's Napoleon, who declares war on Britain because they now have money from Louisiana. You did what? And look at that, everyone is happy. To be fair, I don't think the British banks had this foresight to see what was gonna happen. But when you put it like that, it's kind of obvious. Maybe they should have figured something fishy was up. Pirates, according to fiction, ye be a fool to dare try and stop me from making me voyage. Ching, ching, ching. Not so fast, you accursed yet honorable thief. That gold treasure was stolen from ships belonging to Her Majesty. So bet it then, ye stiff-lipped landlubber, have at ye. Foul, rum-drunk scoundrel. Meanwhile, this guy's just trying to woo over the admiral so he can marry his daughter. Meanwhile, pirates according to the real world. There's so much to read here, I'm just gonna mention my favorite. He pulled out the heart of a Spanish man and began to bite and gnaw on it with his teeth. Well, I don't know how healthy that is for you. Yeah, it's safe to say that a real-life pirate probably was not, well, I don't know. Depends on what you like to do. I'm gonna say probably wasn't very fun, but to each their own. Spain, Christopher Columbus landing in America, 1492, small brain. The Chinese landing on the west coast of America in 1421, slightly bigger. Mali, who reached America in 1324. Okay, it's getting interesting. The Vikings reaching America in 1021. The Polynesians sailed to the west coast of South America around 700 AD. North Asian hunter-gatherers crossing the land bridge to discover America back 15,000 years ago. Monkeys crossing the Atlantic on driftwood around 30 million BC. South American native, what is that word? Ungulates? Spontaneously appearing in South America around 60 million BC. Marsupials spreading across Gondwana through Antarctica around 83 million years ago BC. And finally, there's the most epic of them all, salamanders, predating the American split from the rest of the world 150 million years ago. That's right, boys, we have truly found out who discovered America first. It was these slithering little guys. They look so adorable. I don't know why we always have to talk about humans for figuring out who discovered America. Also, don't forget about the giant sloths that used to live in the Amazon rainforest only 10,000 years ago. They also kind of discovered America. I swear, a conversation about Bigfoot cannot come up without me mentioning the giant sloths in South America. I can't stop talking about them. I don't know why. Will I ever be as good as the old masters? Will I ever be as good as the old masters? Will I ever be as good as the old masters? I am the best. Ooga booga. Couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. Caveman. I love how this joke transcends so many different topics. Like, this original comic here is talking about drawing, animation, art, basically. Caveman art is obviously the most OP, but it was replaced by like modern weapons and things like that. You can mix and match whatever topic you want to talk about. Please stop attacking us. The Spanish are coming. I know. They are my allies. Meanwhile, after the Incan defeat by the Spanish, convert now, infidel, and start working my farm. Okay, well, guess you gotta be careful with who you ally to. So not only did surrounding tribes feel this way with the Aztecs, but also the Incas as well. Ended up allying to Spain, and the aftermath, yeah. Ooh, here's the Entente from World War I, trying to give over more German territory. And here's Denmark, who really doesn't want it. They're already full. They don't need any more Entente, but I guess they were forced to finish their dinner. They just kept getting more and more and more. No wonder they're probably sick of it at this point, being forced to eat it for so long. I love that it's not even necessarily Denmark's fault. It's just more people giving it to Denmark. Danes in European history books. Meanwhile, the Danes in Norwegian history books. I would say like 95% of history books has Denmark represented like this. But yeah, then there's Norway. And you know what? I'm sure Sweden does the same thing as well with their face. Oh, you know what? In England, they're probably portrayed like this because of the Vikings. Forgot about that part. Oh, look, we have both the Philippines and Vietnam agreeing that the US is pretty cool, even though they were fricked up by them. I mean, the Philippines were colonized by the US, and then, you know, obviously the Vietnam War held by the US. But you know what? We're all pretty cool today. We're all kind of best buddies now, aren't we? Oh yeah, where's Japan? When Japan discovers the US is capable of manufacturing barges for the production of ice cream for its troops, please make it stop. This is just that big, beautiful American industry right there. We were building so much we didn't even know what to do with it. So we just made it an ice cream ship, basically. Why? Because why not? In 1714, a Norwegian captain and an English captain had a 14-hour-long ship fight. Afterwards, both ships were severely damaged and the Norwegian captain was running out of ammo. He sent an envoy to the English ship asking if he could borrow some of their ammo. They said no. Well, I mean, the worst thing they can say is no, right? Even if there was an astronomically low chance, maybe they would have given it to you. Can't hurt but ask. I know, but why does this guy look like Benito Mussolini, kind of? Both the Germans and French saying Charlemagne was German and French. Honestly, this seems like the most ridiculous argument. Does it really matter? He's basically the grandfather to both these nations today. Just let it go. Doesn't matter. Hey, France, when are you gonna actually work through your past? Asks Germany. When are you going to work through your past? As they go running at them. France really doesn't want to just talk about their past. That's one thing for sure. Germany definitely talks about their past. They make sure to teach all about what happened. France, however, I mean, to be fair, I don't think American schools teach us about really our past either. You know what? Fine, Hungary. Have your pre-Trianon borders. I mean, this is all they really wanted. They always talk about this. eyes. It just might be a little bit smaller than they remember. Sometimes, like, you know, rose-tinted glasses can do that. But yeah, just never mention this around Hungary. It's kind of a sore subject. Do you have any idea what kind of noise happens when somebody's stabbed in the back? People who don't know versus people who know. This is like an infamous fact about the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original trilogy. There's a scene in which the director Peter Jackson was filming. Saruman had to get stabbed in the back, and because he actually knew from his past what that sounded like, he knew exactly how to perform that act. Can't make this stuff up. It's so crazy. Sir Christopher Lee, who played Saruman, was a World War II vet. Wow, the fortune cookies here really are more accurate. Meanwhile, Homer reading Hilter wouldn't have won WW2 even if Japan didn't attack Pearl Harbor. I honestly thought this was all kind of given knowledge. Are people surprised about this? He was pretty much doomed. The year is 1914. Excuse me, Mr. Churchill, seeing as Britain has declared war on Germany, should I cancel my Arctic expedition? Nonsense, my dear. The war will be over in a few months. You go and explore the South Pole. It's now 2 years later. Do you think we should send someone to rescue that guy's expedition? They've been down there for a while now. No. I guess he had his hands full back still in Europe. We can't be doing no excursions to Antarctica right now. I swear, all the stories in which humans are exploring, whether it be the South Pole or the North Pole, are just the most insane. Like, why do we keep going back there? We were obviously never meant to go there. It's 1953, and President Eisenhower wants a new look military under a nuclear battlefield. The Army getting pentomic divisions, the Air Force with an intercontinental bomber fleet, the Navy with supercarriers with nuclear booms. Meanwhile, the Marine Corps just not wanting to get disbanded. I mean, just staying around is, I think, a good hope. Very creative military proposals. The Germans invading the USSR with superior numbers. Meanwhile, the Red Army doubling its size in 6 months. It does become a lot easier to gather war support when like half of your country is being taken over. I'm sure that's part of it. There's a lot of other factors though for the Soviets. But yeah, I mean, if I lived like literally anywhere here or anywhere close to here, like what else am I gonna do? I don't have a home anymore. I guess I have to fight. The front lines were literally coming to the soldiers. When you're a Korean man conscripted to fight for Japan, get captured by the Soviets, get sent by them to fight the Germans on the Eastern Front, get captured by the Germans, get sent to Normandy to fight for Germany, and finally get captured by American paratroopers. Bro, I am straight up not having a good time. How many uniform changes did this guy have to do? From Korea to Japan to the Soviets to the Germans to the Americans. I mean, that's like 5. They have to fight for America after? We don't know that part. And this is the real life story of this Korean man Yang. Roman citizens in 202 BC. OMG, he shaved his beard. I'll do the same from now on. Meanwhile, Roman citizens 300 years later. OMG, Hadrian doesn't shave his beard. I'll do the same from now on. What's hilarious about this is this trend still continues to this day. Like in the US, it used to be cool to like always be clean shaved. Certain decades there, I'm trying to think, like 50s, definitely. In the 70s, I feel like people had mustaches again. I don't even know where we're at this point. It's like as far back as men's fashion goes. You like have a beard, don't have a beard, and the cycle just continues to repeat. Right now, I'm trying to personally jump on the homeless man beard. I need a couple more weeks though. Big thanks to my patrons. DestineyF 9,000. Drew needs to pay his taxes. Why am I doing this? JohnDenver, I'm the kidnapper. Traven's annoying friends. Ransom. This channel's not by GoodOldRyah. Australia is real. I am not a paid actor. Luxembourg 5610. Patrick RyeThePie. Subscribe to DestineyF 716. Become a patron by checking the description down below.